This is a North Brothers Yankee ratcheting screwdriver. Right now it's set for loosen. Slide that down. Now it's tightened. Check out the markings. At the top it says Yankee. North Bros Manufacturing Company, manufacturers. Philadelphia, PA, USA. And there's a patent, November 2nd, 1897, and it says others pending. It looks like someone has painted over what might have originally been a black handle. This ferrule part is a nickel plated brass. And the tip's worn, but it's not terrible. That came out pretty easy. Looks like a tiny wood screw. I think I'm going to have to press this down and then try to slide this outer sleeve off that inner barrel. I think it looks like this sleeve should slide that way. So I'll have to try to hold that in, pull this off. I'm going to try just tapping it lightly, see if it moves any. Yeah, it seems like it's moving. There it goes. Now I just got to watch, then I'll bend up that selector. Getting close to where I'm going to have to push that selector in. I switched the punch out for a socket, hoping that gives me a hand free to hold this selector in while I drive it the rest of the way out. There it goes. Alright. I'm worried about it hitting the floor and all the pieces just flying everywhere. Let me see if I can wiggle it out by hand now. I think it's too tight still to pull apart. I'm hoping I can do this over the table. Trying to take a good look at everything in case this all flies apart on me. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. There we go. Alright. If I lift this off, I don't think there's a front or a back to the selector. I think it's ambidextrous. There's a good look at the pawls and the gear. I'll make sure I get a good shot at which way these go in. These should just fall right out. There's one. There's the other one. Now what's holding this in? Okay. Looks like there's a key here, keeping that from going any further. I don't know if that's loose. That's loose in there too. That piece there. I guess that was supposed to be on the end. I'll flick that out of there too. Well, let me get this out first. This should come out with no problem. There it goes. That's the key. Now the screwdriver should come out. Yep. Screwdriver shaft. Has the gear right on it. Now this piece back here, it looks like it has a hole in it. Let me show you that better. The piece back there has a hole in it. It looks like it matches the back of the gear. I don't see what was really holding that in place. I don't know if that's broken or if that was supposed to engage in something. Doesn't seem to be any kind of groove at the bottom there. Does that fit into a gear? Doesn't seem to fit into any of the gears. Not sure about that. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be bent like that. So it looks like that little bent over sharp end on this D-shaped washer, looks like that was meant to poke into the wood like that. See the hole it made? Kind of split the wood a little bit. I think that's supposed to be on there like that. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm using mineral spirits to clean the parts. So here's all the pieces laid out. These two pieces are nickel-plated brass. These pieces are steel. They're showing a little bit of corrosion. There's a little bit of corrosion on the shaft too. I might just give the steel pieces a soak in the magic juice overnight. Here's the parts after an overnight soak in Evaporust. These paws came out nice. The screwdriver shaft and tip is actually in great shape. I might be able to get away with just using my conditioning belts on it. This piece here looks like it was originally plated. Might be a good candidate for cold bluing. I'm going to give my plastic abrasive wheels a try. Clean this up. Hopefully I don't end up flinging it across the shop. That little piece started getting hot in my hand. I'm going to try this, one of these welding magnets. Sit in there. I'm really impressed with the job those little plastic abrasive wheels did on this. I went through all the grits. It goes down to 1,000 grit. I was talking about cold blue in this. I may leave it alone. Looks great. This is after the coarse conditioning belt. It looks pretty good. I like the way I can get this area right here with the conditioning belts. That's hard to do with a sanding belt. The conditioning belts do a nice job right there. Now I'll just move on to the medium and then the fine conditioning belt. See how it looks when I'm done. Once again, those conditioning belts did a great job. To clean up where this shaft enters this collar right here, I use those plastic abrasive discs in my Dremel. Let's see if I can clean up this tiny screw a little bit. Here it is, all cleaned up. It looks a lot better now. My plan with this part is to remove what's left of the nickel plate and make it shiny brass. Here it is, just after a few seconds with that medium red conditioning belt. Took the plate right off. Looks like I still got all my lettering. I'm glad I didn't start with the coarse conditioning belt. Looks good. Went over it lightly with the fine blue conditioning belt. Tried to stay away from these markings. I don't want to lose them. This is super fine steel wool. I find it usually does a nice job on brass. Yeah, it's already polishing it right up. The folks at Evaporust sent me this Safe Erase paint and varnish remover gel to try. It says 3 easy steps. It says shake well, apply, wait up to an hour, and scrape off. I like this part right here. No harsh fumes. Alright, here goes. I shook it real well off camera. I figure I'll do what the directions say and let it sit for an hour. It's been about an hour. It looks like the Evaporust Safe Erase. Looks like it took care of that red color. Looks like a melted orange icy pop. This stuff has an odor, but it's not an unpleasant odor. Here's the handle after rinsing off with water. I think that new paint stripper did a decent job. Evaporust Safe Erase. I sanded the handle down to 320. I got rid of most of the damage at the top there. I think it's ready for finish. At this point, I'd like to take you back to what this North Brothers Yankee ratcheting screwdriver looked like in the beginning. And here it is now. I finished the handle with Minwax Bombay Mahogany Polish Shades Satin. I think the polished brass looks way better than the nickel plate. The conditioning belts did a nice job on the screwdriver tip. Now that you've seen the final product, let me take you through the reassembly process. I JB welded this D-shaped washer on the end of the handle. The wood had split away here where that little pointy spur part, I guess, was intended to hold it in place. Having it glued to the handle might make it easier for assembly too. So that's the hole for the screw, and that's the hole in the handle for the screw. So this handle goes in like that. It feels like that D-shaped washer is a little tight in there. It fits, but it's kind of tight. I think I'm gonna take a little metal off the edges, make it fit a little easier. I just used my 1x30 machine and made the metal flush with the wood all the way around. Put a little bit of a bevel on this edge here. See how it fits. Okay, that slid right in that time. And then, yeah, that feels good. That feels right. Good. I put a little bit of super lube grease on the gear and on the end. Put this key in the back. That retains the screwdriver. Good. Now I'm looking at a photo of when I took this apart, so I get this next part right. Looks like this one goes on that way. This one goes on that way. Looking good, Magdad. Now I decide this doesn't really have a direction. Just lays on top like that. And then this goes on top like that. And now I have to fit the tube over this whole thing, and I want the hole where it screws into the wooden handle in the back, so the tube's got to go over like that. Okay, here goes. It's caught on that key at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, there it goes. Pass the key. Well, geez, I think I got it. Feels like it works. I made sure I got the holes in the sleeve and the barrel lined up there. Install the handle and again line up. Careful, line everything up. That seems good. Screws in. Excellent. And of course, Chuck and I polished the steel and brass with flitz. Chuck likes to tell me brass adds class. Let's see how it works. The ratchet action is very smooth. Let me take it the other way. Okay. Works great. North Brothers purchased the Forest City Screwdriver and Drill Company of Portland, Maine in 1897. The superintendent of Forest City, Zachary Furbish, agreed to work for North Brothers. Mr. Furbish was a prolific inventor, a man I would call a mechanical genius. He was awarded at least 35 U.S. patents. North Brothers named their tool line Yankee after him. Here's part of my collection of North Brothers Yankee ratchet screwdrivers, spiral ratchet screwdrivers, and push drills. All of these are based on Zachary Furbish's patents. Chuck and I took some liberties with this RestoMod. I hope the polished brass and Bombay mahogany doesn't offend the purists too much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I've included Amazon links in the description below for some of the products I used on this project. If you use the links to purchase a product from Amazon, it helps me and Chuck out a little.